Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing good today. Because after this video, you probably won't be. Today, we're diving into 3 of the most disturbing true crime stories ever recorded in Australia. They're not paranormal. They're not urban legends. They're real, and each one shows just how far human darkness can go when no one's watching. These are the kind of stories that stay in your head long after the video, so sit tight and don't look away. And trust me, the last story in this video is going to leave you absolutely speechless. Stick around till the end, because it's one of the darkest cases I've ever talked about. The kind that will make your stomach burn. Let's start with the first story. The dinner no one ate. So, in early March 2000, a man named John Price doesn't show up to work. Now, this guy's the type who never calls in sick, never skips a shift. His friends start calling, no answer. By noon, one of them says, "Something's not right, let's check on him." They drive to his house in the small town of Aberdeen, New South Wales. From the outside, everything looks normal. The car's in the driveway, lights off, curtains drawn. But when they knock, nothing. They circle around back, and that's when one of them notices the door handle smeared with something dark. He calls the cops. When police arrive, they peek through a window and freeze. What they see inside doesn't even make sense at first. There's a man's body, what's left of it, on the floor. And on the table, plates neatly arranged. Each plate has meat, potatoes, vegetables, and a name tag beside it. And the names belong to John Price's kids. Officers kick in the door. The smell hits them first. There's cooked food on the stove, a pot still warm, a saucepan simmered dry. And in that pot, a human head, skinned, with vegetables floating around it. They search the house, hearts pounding. In the bedroom, they find a woman, unconscious, overdosed on pills. She's alive, barely. Her name is Catherine Knight. At this point, police have no idea what just happened. Was this a ritual, a mental break, some satanic thing? They seal off the house, start cataloguing evidence, and every single detail they uncover makes less sense than the last. Who is Catherine Knight? So, who is she? Knight's a local butcher worker, mid-40s, mother, known in town for being tough, loud, sometimes violent. People say she's had a temper her whole life. At her home, police later find knives, rows of them, displayed like trophies on the wall. She'd worked for years in slaughterhouses, said she liked it. It didn't bother her. When detectives question friends and family, a picture forms. Catherine's relationships always start hot and end in explosions. One ex-boyfriend said she once cut up all his clothes while he slept. Another said she threatened to kill his baby. Everyone who dated her ended up terrified, but somehow drawn back in. Then she meets John Price, a well-liked, easygoing guy. Divorced, good dad, dependable. He falls for her, despite the stories. For a while, it's fine. Then she starts fights, violent ones. At one point, she even stabs him in the chest. Not deep, just enough to make a point. He presses charges, but later takes her back. By February 2000, he's done. He tells friends, "If I ever go missing, she's the reason." He files a restraining order. A week later, she shows up at his house with new lingerie, and somehow he lets her in. It's late. They have dinner, talk, maybe even laugh. They sleep together. He falls asleep. At some point in the night, she gets up, walks to the kitchen, takes one of her knives off the wall. She stabs him again and again. He tries to escape, bleeding, staggering toward the door, leaving a trail through the hallway. He makes it outside, collapses. She drags him back inside. Then, in an act that's part rage, part ritual, she skins him completely. She cooks parts of him. She sets the dinner table. She writes the children's names on notes beside each plate. After that, she takes pills and lies down in bed, waiting to die or be found. When police piece it together, the crime scene photos are so bad, most officers can't talk about them years later. The medical examiner says she was precise, like a professional butcher. No one knows if she planned the cooking as revenge, a message, or just madness. In court, she claims amnesia. The jury doesn't buy it. The judge calls her crime so horrific that life imprisonment is the only option. She becomes the first woman in Australian history sentenced to life without parole. When you look at pictures of her before that night, she looks ordinary, smiling in family photos, holding her kids, working a job. And that's what makes it worse, because the truth about Catherine Knight isn't just what she did that night. It's how long the warning signs were there and how no one believed they would ever go that far. Story 2. 7 Quiet Roads. Truro Murders. South Australia, 1976 to 77. It's January 1978, and a farmer outside Truro, South Australia, is checking his fence line. The morning's quiet, just cicadas and wind moving through dry grass. He's done this 100 times before, but halfway down the track, something catches his eye. A patch of pale white among the scrub. He steps closer. At first, he thinks it's animal bones. Kangaroo, maybe. Then he sees the skull. Human. He freezes. By the end of that year, police will find 7 women in the same region, all young, all murdered, all left in the bush, and it will take years before they realize the story started long before that first skull in Truro. When investigators arrive, they find remains scattered by animals. No clothing, no ID. But dental records soon identify the victim, Veronica Knight, just 18 years old. She'd vanished more than a year earlier while hitchhiking home from Adelaide. Detectives think maybe a one-off, maybe a bad ride. But just weeks later, hikers find another skeleton 30 miles away. Same kind of remote scrubland, same condition. Then another and another, 7 young women in total. All strangled or beaten, all left miles apart, yet close enough to feel like a pattern. A pattern that points to one thing, a serial pair of killers moving through South Australia's back roads. Back then, in the mid-70s, hitchhiking was normal, cheap, casual, part of the culture. Adelaide was quiet, safe, or at least it seemed that way. Most of the women who vanished were hitchhiking, some leaving parties, some just trying to get to the city. They weren't running away. They simply disappeared between point A and B. At first, police didn't connect them. Different towns, different times. But one detective noticed a detail. Every victim had been picked up on the same highway corridor heading out of Adelaide. He starts digging. Car sightings, missing person overlaps, and one name keeps circling back. James Miller. James Miller is an ex-convict, middle-aged, drifting through odd jobs. Nothing screams serial killer, but when police check his background, another name appears right beside his. Christopher Worrell. Worrell is younger, confident, manipulative, the kind of man who makes people uneasy without knowing why. He met Miller in prison. They became inseparable. When they got out, they moved into a house together in Adelaide and started cruising at night. Neighbors thought they were just odd. No one knew what those late-night drives were for. Miller later tells police he thought they were just picking up girls. What he didn't say, or didn't want to admit, was that none of those girls were ever seen again. In February 1977, a car accident kills Christopher Worrell instantly. Miller survives. After that, the killings stop. For months, no one connects the dots. The disappearances quietly fade from headlines. Then, when the Truro skeletons begin turning up, the pieces start aligning. But investigators still need proof. Then, out of nowhere, a woman named Verna Curry walks into a police station and changes everything. She'd been Miller's friend, and in the weeks after Worrell's death, he'd started talking. He told her stories, things me and Chris used to do. He mentioned girls, he mentioned roads, and he mentioned bodies. Verna didn't believe him at first, but when news broke about the first skeleton in Truro, her blood ran cold. She told police exactly where to look next. Detectives bring Miller in for questioning. At first, he acts confused, like he doesn't know what they're talking about. Then they start listing the victims' names. Miller breaks. He admits he was there every time. Says Worrell would charm young women into the car, promising a lift, maybe a drink. They'd drive out of the city into the empty roads beyond Murray Bridge. Then Worrell would pull over, tell Miller to wait by the car, and minutes later, Worrell would come back alone. They'd drive away. Miller claims he never killed anyone. He says he was scared of Worrell, controlled by him, that he only helped move bodies because Chris said he'd kill me if I didn't. But when police ask why he kept helping, night after night, victim after victim, he has no answer. Miller takes police to the dumping sites. He walks through the bush, pointing with quiet precision. There. That's where we left her. Over that rise, another one. Every single location matches a missing person file. 7 women. Each site yields another skull, another set of bones, another family who finally gets an answer, though not the one they prayed for. Police search Worrell's old car, find hair fibers, cords, traces of blood. The evidence is thin after years in the open air, but the confessions match too perfectly to ignore. In 1980, James Miller stands trial for 6 of the 7 murders. The prosecution calls him an active participant. The driver, the enabler, the man who made the killings possible. Miller's defense insists he was a coward, not a killer. That Worrell was the monster, and he was just afraid. The jury doesn't buy it. He's convicted on 6 counts of murder and sentenced to life in prison. He'll serve decades behind bars until his death in 2008. And Worrell, the supposed mastermind, never answers for any of it. His grave is the only place you can find him now. The murders horrified South Australia, not because they were flashy or bizarre, but because they were quiet. Ordinary girls, ordinary roads, a simple decision to get in a car with 2 smiling men turned final in a matter of minutes. Police later said if not for that car crash, the killings might have gone on indefinitely. One retired detective put it bluntly, if Worrell hadn't died, we'd still be finding bodies in the bush. Today, Truro looks peaceful again. Gum trees, dirt roads, birdsong. You'd never know what's buried under that soil. But for families who lost daughters, those 7 quiet roads are sacred ground. Every year, flowers appear on the fences out there. No plaques, no ceremonies, just silent remembrance. The real horror of the Truro case isn't what happened out there in the bush. It's how easily it could happen again. 2 men, 1 car, 1 stretch of road, and 7 lives that vanished between headlights and darkness. If you are enjoying the video so far, then don't forget to like the video. Now let's dive into the third story, and believe me, it's dark. Story 3, The Man at the Microphone, Sharp Family Murders, Victoria, 2004. It's April 2004, and a man stands in front of a wall of microphones. He's pale, shaking, his eyes red. Cameras click, reporters lean forward. He says he just wants his wife and little daughter back. He begs, "Anna, if you're watching this, please just come home." The nation feels for him. He looks exhausted, broken. But behind that face, behind those words, is a secret so dark that by the time police uncover it, the country will nickname him the Mornington Monster. 2 weeks earlier, police in Mornington, Victoria, received a report from worried relatives. A woman named Anna Kemp and her 2-year-old daughter Gracie hadn't been seen in days. Their phones were off. Their family overseas hadn't heard from them. Anna's husband, John Sharp, tells officers he doesn't know where they are. He says Anna packed up and left after an argument, that she'd done this before. The house looks clean, no signs of struggle. Anna's car's gone. Her bank card still works, a few small withdrawals here and there. Police can't see a crime here yet, just a missing person case. But something about John's demeanor doesn't sit right. He's oddly calm, almost rehearsed. They ask if they can come back with a warrant. He says, "Yes, sure, whatever you need." They don't know it yet, but that simple permission gives them the key to one of the most haunting cases in Australian history. John and Anna had been married for almost 10 years. They met while working at a bank. Quiet, normal, middle-class people. In 2002, they had Gracie, a sweet little girl with a bright smile and big round eyes. She was born with hip dysplasia, meaning she had to wear braces and needed extra care. It wasn't easy, but Anna adored her. Neighbors would see them walking together, Gracie holding her dad's hand, giggling. From the outside, it looked like a stable suburban family. But under the surface, John Sharp was unraveling. He hated confrontation. He bottled everything. Friends later said he had this strange habit of agreeing to everything and then resenting it quietly. And when Anna became pregnant again in early 2004, John didn't say congratulations. He said, "I thought we talked about not having more kids." That's when something in him snapped. 2 weeks before Anna went missing, John bought something odd, a spear gun. He told the store clerk he was getting into fishing. The clerk thought nothing of it. But over the next few days, John bought 2 more spears. He didn't go fishing. He practiced with them in the backyard. Anna asked him why. He said, "Just a hobby." She rolled her eyes. She'd learned to ignore his moods. March 23rd, 2004, the last night anyone saw Anna alive. It's late. The house is quiet. Anna's upstairs in bed. Gracie's asleep in her room. John walks into the bedroom holding the spear gun. He fires. The spear pierces Anna's skull, but she's still alive, screaming. He reloads, fires again. She stops moving. He leaves her there, covered with a towel, and goes downstairs to sleep on the couch. The next morning, he buries her in a shallow grave in their backyard. He'll later tell police he made himself breakfast before doing it. Over the next few days, John plays the role of the abandoned husband. He calls Anna's family, tells them she ran off, sends fake text messages from her phone to make it seem real. In one message, Anna says she needs space. In another, she claims she's staying with a friend. It works for a little while, but Anna's family can't shake the feeling something's wrong. She'd never leave Gracie. John keeps the lie alive. He even withdraws money from Anna's bank account to make it look like she's traveling, and then, 4 days later, he does something no one can explain. March 27th, Gracie's asleep in her room. John stands in the doorway, holding the spear gun again. He fires, misses, reloads, fires again. This time, it hits. She cries once, then silence. He wraps her in blankets, drives to a nearby landfill, and throws her small body into the trash pile. The next day, he digs up Anna's body, cuts it apart with a chainsaw, and disposes of her remains the same way. The landfill swallows everything. Then he takes a shower, puts on clean clothes, and drives to work like nothing happened. A week later, he does interviews. He tells the cameras, "I just want them to come home." He looks exhausted, the kind of tired you can't fake. People believe him. The footage goes national. He even cries when reporters ask about Gracie. Behind the scenes, detectives are watching the footage frame by frame, not for sympathy, but for clues. They notice inconsistencies in his story. Times don't add up. The phone pings don't match the withdrawals. And why would a man whose wife supposedly left take out her life insurance policy the next week? Police get a search warrant. Inside John's home, detectives find small but damning traces: spear gun packaging, receipt stubs, missing towels, and faint blood residue around the bedroom doorframe. When they check the landfill, workers remember him, alone, driving up multiple times that week. That's when police bring him in again. This time, he doesn't talk. Hours pass. Then, finally, he looks up and says, "I'll tell you." He tells them everything, calmly, step by step, as if describing someone else's day. He says Anna was controlling, that he was under stress. He says he didn't plan it, even though he bought the weapon 2 weeks before. He admits to killing Gracie, but calls it mercy. When he's done, detectives sit in silence. Even seasoned officers are shaken. They ask why. He says, "I don't know." In 2005, John Sharp pleads guilty to the murders of Anna and Gracie. The judge calls his crimes cold, calculated, and beyond comprehension. He's sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms with a minimum of 33 years before parole. The media dubs him the Mornington Monster. Australia, which had once pitied him, now hates him. His own family cuts contact. He reportedly spends his prison days silent, rarely speaking. When people re-watch that press conference now, it's haunting. You can see the lies in his eyes, the pauses, the fake tremors in his voice. And what chills everyone most is the realization that while the world was praying for Anna and Gracie's return, they were already buried under mountains of garbage. He wasn't searching, he was stalling. In interviews years later, detectives said this case changed them, not because of the violence, but because of the performance. How believable it was, how normal he looked. One officer said, "He wasn't a monster in the dark. He was a monster in daylight." And that's why this story lingers, because it reminds you that real evil doesn't always hide. Sometimes it stares right into the camera and says, "Please help me find them." If you made it this far, thank you. These stories aren't easy to hear, but they remind us just how real darkness can be. If you liked the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it. It helps us more than you think. I'll see you next time with more stories that will send a chill down your spine.